Selling bread made by foreigners who lived in Nigeria as far back as the 1960s, and he has since passed the business to his children and grandchildren. Having been in the business for decades, Shitu was in the perfect position to explain how Nigerians came to love Agege bread.
The European merchants, they are coming to the coastal areas, particularly Lagos, Calabar, Port Harcourt, etc. So that when they came with remnants of loaves of bread from the crew, from the Navy crew, from the ship. And when they came out, they brought some certain remnants out of the ship. And that is the beginning of tasting or having much knowledge about bread in Nigeria.
The bright sunshine of Nigeria makes me to believe that all over the world there's no place like Africa. For Nigeria is my home.
Another widely consumed food in Nigeria is yam. It's a versatile food that can be eaten fried, roasted, boiled, pounded or grinded into flour and used to make a dish called amala. In southwest Nigeria, amala and ewedu soup has been watering mouths for centuries. To Nigeria's Yoruba-speaking tribes, amala and ewedu isn't just black dough and a slimy soup. It's a mark of their identity.
The food I like very much is amala, to be honest, because there's a special feeling when I'm making amala anyway, so it is just part of me. If you wake me up now that I should come and make amala, I'll just, yeah, let's do it. Because that's one of the basic, major meal that sold me out, especially on the internet, on Twitter, Instagram and the like. So people get to know me because of the amala I make for events. So it is one of the meal I like to make most.
As ewedu is to the southwest, is bitter leaf soup or onubu to the southeast. We have now trailed the scent of the local Igbo delicacy to Oraku, a village in Anambra State. Many people here grew up watching their parents plant and sell bitter leaves to earn a living, and today they do the same for their own families.
Ejigoro m ihe gbasara ọrụ a na-akọ. Ejigoro m ekita anụ wee gbaa aja na village m. Anyị ga-eji wee lụọ.
Stanley is a bitter leaf farmer. He cultivates this 8 plot of land, and once it matures, he harvests it, soaks it, and takes it to the river where workers process the leaves the traditional way, by squeezing hard to remove the bitter taste, a process that may last for hours.
This our business. This bitter leaf, we don't have season. It's not seasonal. It's only that during this, as we are in rainy season now, during this rainy season, the work is lesser. The work is lesser because you don't have to irrigate the farm. You don't have to water the farm. Rain fall constantly. But what makes it difference from the dry season is that during the dry season you use your water pump, you use our pumping machine, yes, to pump water in the farm. But the work during that dry season, it pays more than this rainy season, because that is when you get the fruit of your labor. All that we labor during this rainy season is during the dry season that you get your money back.
Bitter leaf soup is not only eaten as a delicacy among the Igbo-speaking tribes in Nigeria. Its extracts are also used to manufacture medicines, and the leaves are in high demand in international markets. Stanley says he exports as much as 100 buckets of bitter leaves per day to clients in the diaspora and can hardly keep up with the demand. Local dishes across Nigeria vary from region to region, with egusi, ogbono, owo, banga, edikaikong, afang, ewedu, oha, and bitterleaf soups being among the most popular. They are usually eaten with swallow, a local slang for the dough made usually of cassava or yam. 24 of Nigeria's 36 states cultivate cassava, making her the world's largest producer of the crop. And we have now come to Masaka in Nasarawa State to visit the market famed for its abundant supply of yams and cassavas.
I use my cassava to produce akpu. This fufu. Yes. They use cassava to produce gari, akpu, or fufu. It's only Akwa Ibom people call it fufu, but many people call it akpu. So they use it to produce gari and abacha, and so on and so forth.
Every Thursday, cassava processors like Ike converge at Masaka Market to buy cassava off farmers. He owns a small gari processing factory where workers peel, wash, soak, and grind the cassava into a mash. The mash is then pressed hard to remove the raw starch, after which it's then sieved before the frying begins. The laborious process usually involves at least 10 persons working together to get the end product. But with a large market of gari eaters in the country, demand always outweighs supply.
No amount of gari you take to the market that you won't sell, because it's a food where the rich and the poor eat. You understand? But the challenge we are having is moving them to where the consumers are.
Just like bitter leaf, cassava is a multi-purpose crop. Every part of the plant, from the roots to the leaves, has both food and medicinal uses.
We can get animal meal from cassava, we can get starch from cassava, we can get chemical from cassava, we can as well get food from cassava, we can as well get manure from cassava. Now, if all the youth can work the way I'm doing now, I believe in the next few years to come, we'll be looking at the oil sector or the government, we won't be looking at those areas. We'll look straight on gari business, because gari business can give us what we want.
Nigeria's strongest resource isn't in her oil or agriculture. Her economic strength is in her people, the entrepreneurs that keep the system running. One of them is Bayo Adedeji. Bayo has been serving hot, sweet-tasting snacks to Nigerians since 2016. He owns yam plantations and employs over 30 staff at his street food business. His leverage is yam, one of Nigeria's most abundant staple foods.
We have taken street vending. We've taken street vending and taken it to a new level, right? Where we've made it more modernized. We've made it clean. You can look at my staff behind, you know, they're well dressed, they're properly trained, they wash their hands before they touch the food. But basically, we are able to keep street pricing, right, for more hygienic food, and we deliver. Our bikes are going to show up here now. So our customer service team is taking orders right now, you know, and that's what all our locations do, and that's how we drive the business.
Bayo embodies the Nigerian character of hard work, resilience, and entrepreneurship. With an MBA in finance, he took off with his own business and then as a street food vendor in 2016.
Instead of you just importing stuff. We take our own local fried yam, we grow it, we transport it, we improve it, we sell it, we distribute it, and within one economy. And now we're about to export it. That right there is an economic value chain that Nigeria needs to revitalize its own economy. And that's what we're doing. And creating employment, and creating empowerment, and creating, you know, a business opportunity. A person that owns our location is hugely successful. Somebody was telling me, I'm about to quit my job and do this full time. That is amazing.
With our bellies full from tasting local dishes across Nigeria, we set out to fill our eyes with the wonders of African art.
We've been seated down for so long. We've been fooling around for too long. We've been seated down for so long. And I've been fooling around for too long. So long, so long, for too long, too long, so long, so long, too long, too long. Hey. Oh Lord, can you hear me now?
Since pre-colonial times, Nigerians have been expressing their culture through sculpture, brass and bronze casting, and woodwork. The skill with which Nigerians worked wood into multidimensional objects fascinated foreigners so much that they stole thousands of art pieces from ancient Benin, most of which are currently in the British Museum. Foreigners might have stolen prized artworks from Nigeria, but what they couldn't steal was the essence of her art, which has been passed on many generations to modern-day sculptors like Anthony Olofin.
Our culture cannot die, and that is why I'm promoting Nigeria culture and I'm promoting African culture work, because it's an unending generation. So whatever you see in our work, we are training people so that if we are no more, they are still alive to continue. It's a continuity of the job, which we collect it from our forefathers. Today we are still there, and we are training people too. Tomorrow they will still be there. So it's on an ending generation. So we promote our Nigerian culture, African culture, so at home and abroad.
At Anthony's workshop, you'll find figurines depicting everyday life, traditional gods and deities, royal figures and animals. Through delicate carvings and painstaking work, Olofin portrays the Nigerian identity on wood and aims to restore pride in Nigerian arts. But even his best efforts are yet to pay off.
Foreigners respect our culture than we in Nigeria. And I believe if our government should be able to focus on this thing, I'm telling you, there is money on this thing than cool oil they are talking about. There is money on this thing than agriculture they are talking about. Because it's an international work. This thing I'm doing, this thing you see here now, white people, they will come with their container. Are they not benefited from it by the time they are shifting this thing to their country? But I can do all these things 10 sets. You won't see Nigeria to participate. They'll come over and buy. But you see all these white people fighting themselves. I will pick this one. Loading in on their container. Many kings can find this kind of a share. They will start going to foreign. You can imagine, they will go into foreign and buying gold share. How many senators has kind of share in their house? We have furnishers carving shares. How many of them promote it? If you go to the presidency, you will see all those foreign shares there. So they don't think that it has value. And we are giant of Africa. On this artwork, the sculpture, we are still the best. And that is why the white people respect this work. So I'm appealing to Nigeria, let us promote our culture. I'm appealing to the government, let us promote our culture.
Why then do Nigerians seem to trivialize her art, while foreigners will pay any price to get it? I caught up with art connoisseur Sharon Okafor for answers.
A prophet is not appreciated in his own hometown, like they say, because we see it all around us, everywhere. We don't appreciate them because they're everywhere. But when someone comes into our country, like a foreigner comes in, it's strange to them, it's new to them, so they appreciate it. It's just normal. So we have to project it, and for prosperity's sake, you know, for people coming, you know, after us, we have to try to start appreciating it so that the people after us can appreciate it. We have to do something about it to make us more aware of the beauty of our culture.
Another ancient but thriving artistry in Nigeria is cane weaving. Welcome to the workshop of Donald Kane, a popular cane craftsman in Abuja. For over 10 years now, Donald has been weaving cane into chairs, tables, baskets, flower pots, you name it. His bare hands are his working patterns to create a beautiful work of art, something he says he's proud of.
This is our background, this is what we do for a living. Our forefather, they did not sow it out like other Africans did. So we will not do the same thing. We have to hold our rights because this is what they taught us before they're gone. So if we hold our rights, we use it to grow our own children.
Donald's colleague shares the same view. He's more pleased with the fact that materials required for the job are sourced locally, especially from Edo and Delta states.
This one is natural. This one, then they go say they go bring out. Now only we dey do it by ourselves. They bring out for this our bush. But for this our bush one we get here. Now we dey get out for this. This one I be the thing when grow up for this our source. For the material grow up here, we know they go buy it for market and for bush they go buy it. That's why make us say this Africa. That's why we prefer to do this one because it's different. All those furniture, all those things. Because this one is natural. Because this is Africa based. I too like this work because this work. They give me joy because I dey do I dey enjoy it because the way I dey do I just be like say me say I be the Africa. That's why me I like the work because it's Africa, it's Africa. Yeah, if you do it, you gonna say yeah, this one is really cultural something that you do. So you say you go admire am.
Like sculpture, furniture made of cane is in high demand for export. But despite its cultural and economic value, its market potential has not been fully explored.
Those are our Africans, they don't use this one. Even in the village, if you go to the village, even the royal chief, most of them don't use this one in their palace. They prefer the king palace. You put upholstery because the first king we have, he said the pride of Africa. So the people that need it, like the Oyibos, they use it in their beach. You understand? And they use it in their tourist center, in their museum. It's a challenge. Why? It's a challenge for the new minister or for the new agricultural minister or for the new science minister to develop those ideas and for the government to know that these things, if you don't need them, then you sell it out. If you know you cannot use them, don't let them useless here. You give people that want it so that I can make use of it because the world we are, there's no idea is waste.
Modernization seems to be a big influence on how Nigerians perceive what is truly ours. And that's why BUNIO is working hard to improve appreciation for the textile art called Adire or tie and dye.
I look at everybody and what they wear and we've been using too much of Western culture kind of dressing and all those things. So I'm like, why can't we bring our own fabrics, our own idea, our own African art and put it into what they do over there and make it look like what they do there. And even when they see it, they will be eager to like, I think we love what these people do. We should try something new.
The people of Yoruba land began designing fabrics by tying it and dyeing it with indigo, a natural dye extracted from the leaves of plants. The dyes used these days are imported chemicals, but the art remains indigenously Nigerian. BUNIO was excited to explain the process of creating an Adire design.
Now, after getting the fabric, depending on the kind of technique I want to use, because the chemicals we use soda, we use sulfites, then varieties of vet dye, depending on the kind of color we want to use. Then we use twine to create the dye resist, that is the time. We use twine to tie. We don't use twine, we use raffia. Then another kind of technique we use is batik. That is the use of candle wax to create a kind of pattern on the fabric. So whatever pattern we draw on the fabric, by the time we are dipping it into the dye, those places where we have the pattern, the dye would not pass through those places. So by the time we finish dyeing and we de-wax the fabric, the pattern is going to show. After we finish that, we rinse. After rinsing off, we rinse the first time and the second time. Then when you are sure that the dye is off the fabric, you wash with soap. Then after washing it with soap, I use comfort conditioner to take out the smell, because you won't like it when you are wearing a very nice fabric and you have the odor of dye smelling on the body. It doesn't look nice. Because even by the time you pass, you'll be like, you understand? Sorry, I used the Yoruba language. So I use comfort conditioner to like take out the smell, and I iron, then I package it, then I deliver.
Beauty, they say, speaks for itself. That's why the art of tie and dye has been exported beyond the shores of Nigeria. And to date, Adire remains a vibrant part of the Nigerian culture. Laborers break down rocks to be used for construction. Don't look closer, open your eyes. This is Katampe Hills in Abuja, the geographical center of Nigeria as calculated by engineering company Setraco Nigeria Limited. Locals tell me the hills was formed by volcanic activity many centuries ago. And in 1999, then military governor Ibrahim Babangida officially commissioned it as the epicenter of Nigeria. But there is nothing here to prove its significance except this rusted iron plate on the hill. In fact, rather than being regarded as a tourist center, Katampe Hills is slowly being chipped away.
When you don't know the value of what you have, they say that abuse is inevitable. So to them, this is just rocks and a means to an end. So they can break these rocks, use it for buildings and all of that. What we should be advocating for is the preservation of some of these sites. You understand? They don't know any better. They are just doing work and they are being paid for it. You understand? Because to them, this is just rocks. I feel that if they are being sensitized and the awareness is created and people know that this is a tourist site. In all other parts of the world, most of these tourist sites are preserved. You understand? So hopefully we can, get to that point where we can create some sort of security and some sort of preservative measures for the tourist sites that we have.
Perhaps the first challenge Nigeria faces with tourism is little or no information about our tourist sites. Henry Oji has been taking pictures here for about 4 years now, but he didn't know that he's been shooting at the center of Nigeria all the while until we told him. And because of this ignorance of what we have, Nigerians contribute billions of dollars to the economies of other countries in search for tourist attractions, thus undervaluing our own tourism potential and hurting the economy.
Look at Dubai. Everybody is wanting or clamoring to go to Dubai. And Dubai just have oil, but then invested in tourism. Dubai don't even have these natural monuments that we have. Most of their tourism are artificial. You go to Dubai and they take you to desert. Then you go and play with sand. I don't understand. While in Yobe here, we have those things. We have those sand there. I don't understand. See, Nigeria is losing a lot. And I tell you, the moment we start opening our eyes to the tourism potentials in Nigeria, that time we'll start investing in our youths. That time we'll start investing in Nigeria.
Stakeholders have repeatedly called on the government to promote Katampe Hills to befitting standards. But the call seems to be falling on deaf ears, despite its money-spinning potential.
If I say to you now that there is a restaurant at the center of Nigeria, everybody would like to go to that restaurant. Imagine they built a restaurant here, or they created some little chalets around here just so that when foreigners come in, there are other things other than just, because I feel like if you just climb there, the only thing that you see is the view, really. But that's all. It's not like the view is the greatest view in the world. But I feel like there's so many things that the government can put in place. Like I said, restaurants, maybe hotels, maybe playgrounds, whatever it is, just to beautify the places, and also somehow pump some of our resources in terms of finances into these tourist places. We definitely, maybe not now, but in the nearest future, we will be reaping from it.
Tourism has the potential to involve everybody because the tourism market is big. It covers food, it covers transportation, it covers everything, security, even cameramen. would do a lot of things. Craftsmen. Tourism is big. It's big. It can employ. See, Nigeria alone can run on tourism and everybody will be happy.
Since Nigeria has so much economic potential, why are her people poor? Since pre-colonial Nigeria had successful empires and kingdoms, why is her government below par? Since her history is so great, why aren't her people proud? The answer is so simple that Nigerians echo it with one voice.
Our
leaders.
Selfishness.
The leaders.
Our government.
Corruption. Lack of employment.
Here, the popular belief is that government officials extort the masses and serve their own interests rather than the public's. This high level of corruption is probably the greatest challenge of the country, and only when her public servants abide by the true essence of service and Nigerians become awake to their obligations will Nigeria become a better country for us all.
Somewhere in the heart of Okota, a bustling district of Lagos, Nigeria's former capital and currently its commercial hub and cultural melting pot, sits a majestic and upscale educational institution whose uniqueness amongst institutions of its kind speaks volumes about the expansive vision of its founder and director, his wide horizons and cosmopolitan worldview, his deep intentions towards the socio-economic development of his immediate environment and his country as a whole, and his deep concern for the legacy he, and by extension those he has mandated to help actualize his vision, would bequeath to coming generations. Like the institution he founded, His Eminence Sheikh Prince Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansur Akinola Olabi Bodun Williams is a man of many dimensions. He is a business entrepreneur, a leader on both the temporal and spiritual levels, a scholar, and an accomplished manager of men and resources. This is reflected not only in his royal background as a scion of the two ruling houses in Lagos, or in his rich and varied experiences in all the places life has taken him so far, but also in the character of his creation, the first Islamic English Education Foundation Academy, also known as FAEF Academy.
When Islamic principle activities came into my life, of course, I started publishing journals, Force of Islam International journals. Then it occurred to me that that one was not taking care of the little ones, hence there should be a school for the little ones. More so, to bring to an end, if possible, what we went through, where we go to secular school in the morning and have to go to Arabic school in the evenings. That is not too good for today's learning process. And then I had to pioneer something that can embrace both at a go, which people thought it can never be possible. But Allah helped me now to pioneer such. Even the journals I pioneered made way for so many Islamic journals later. The same thing, this school is the first of its kind all over the world. That they brought about my person being turned to a consultant in the modern day Islamic education.
This is a school which, since its inception in 1984, has blazed the trail in combining the best of Islamic instruction with the best of Western formal education at the nursery, primary, post-primary and advanced levels, with a view towards inculcating in the minds, hearts and consciousness of young Muslims the most sublime learning, tenets and values of both worlds. Located at number 11 Prince Hamidu Williams Way /9 Chief Wachuku Drive in Okota, Lagos, this unique institution, which prides itself in being the oldest continually operating private school of its kind in Nigeria, marks a radical departure from what obtained in former times when Islamic and Western education and standards were mutually exclusive and often at odds with each other, a situation in which students imbibed the trappings of Western education but were left spiritually empty.
I came into it because I want to save the future of Muslim kids, not going through the hassles that people like us went through in acquiring Islamic education and being a proper Muslim. Today, mashallah, I'm grateful to God that I've been able to pioneer what people thought wasn't possible, bridging both secular education and Islamic education, all going on the same level as you must have seen today. It wasn't that easy all along. And people are saying that, why are you bothering yourself about it? What is the big deal about? I said, that's not a big deal. Because we are first-class citizens of them, and the Muslims of now too should be first-class citizens.
Sheikh Williams' passion for excellence in this most innovative of endeavors is born out of his desire not only to uphold the high standards and quality of life and to pass on the values on which he grew up, but also to correct the anomaly occasioned by the dichotomy between the Islamic and Western models of education.
Lagos State is a place for us. Lagos State is a place for us. Lagos State is a place for us.
His Eminence Sheikh Prince Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansur Akinola Olabi Bodunrin Williams was born in the mid-1950s into the large, aristocratic and influential Williams family of Itakose Olowogbowo in Eko, as Lagos was called before the advent of Europeans on these shores. An important seat of traditional authority, which has served as a stronghold of the power and majesty of the Obas of Lagos from time immemorial, the ancient community of Eko was a thriving center of commerce as far back as pre-colonial days.
I'm a typical Eko boy. Eko in Lagos State. Alhamdulillah, I was given birth to on Lagos Island proper. I say Eko proper now, island proper. The island that was known as the time I was given birth to proper used to be Lagos Island, where we have Isaloko, Olowogbowo, and the rest.
A coastal community, it still enjoys the serenity occasioned by its auspicious location along an extensive shoreline characterized by lagoons, pristine beaches, luxuriant vegetation, and the refreshing breeze of the Atlantic Ocean. Not only was it agriculturally self-sufficient even back in the day, Eko is surrounded by nature's bounty of all kinds, including a rich supply of seafood from the lagoons and the ocean. From its culturally homogeneous beginnings, the area has over the years seen a tremendous influx of foreigners from all over the country and beyond. Over the years, alas, Eko has lost its innocence. Today, it's a bubbling but crowded city in Lagos, the former capital of Nigeria. This has, however, not diminished its historic and cultural importance in the life of the state and the nation as a whole. With its numerous monuments and historical landmarks, such as the Iga Idugono, the Palace of the Oba of Lagos, the Enuowa Mosque, as well as the first public water tap in Nigeria, to name a few, it is a living, breathing museum chronicling the history, arts and culture of Lagos and indeed of Nigeria. In fact, it can be said without any fear of contradiction that Eko remains in a timeless way the very heart of Lagos State. On both sides of his family lineage, His Eminence Sheikh Prince Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansur Akinola Williams descended from royalty. His father, Prince Lamidu Hamidu Akombiaro Williams, now of blessed memory, of whom Prince Muhammad was the 12th child, was among the most powerful and influential personalities in the Lagos Island of his time. A double prince from both the Akinsemoyin and Ologun Kutere ruling houses of Lagos Island. His family tree on his father's, that is the Williams side, also boasts of connections to the lineage of the Awujale, the paramount ruler of Ijebu-land, as well as to the Dagburewe ruling house of Idowa.
Williams from the beginning are great merchants. They are the earlier trading partners with the English people Hence, the family house is very close to the marina where the foreign ship arrives, and they are the one that trade with all these foreign merchants from England, from Portugal, and the rest like that.
A highly successful entrepreneur, Prince Lamido Hamidu Akombiaro Williams was an importer of textile and garment-related equipment, products and accessories such as sewing machines, buttons, buckles, needles and threads, etc. Not only did he set up the first garment industry in Nigeria, he was also a trendsetter in the nation's fashion and textile industry of the time. He introduced new and hitherto unknown clothes-making devices and other industrial goods into Nigeria in partnership with German and other Western companies. In addition, Prince Lamido Williams also had major investments in goldsmithing. On his maternal side, His Eminence Prince Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansur Williams is the son of Olori Agba Kosenotu Iyajua Aduni Williams, who holds the titles of Borokini Adini of Aguda Central Mosque in Aguda, Surulere, Lagos, and the Alari Adini of Nawaruddin Society of Nigeria, among others. She is the daughter of Alhaja Chief Sinotu Atupa Palo, first Iya Adini of Lagos Central Mosque, also the Iya Adini of Lagos and later of Nigeria, equally from the lineage of Eletu Odigbo of Lagos, a family of noblemen who act as the Prime Minister of the Oba of Lagos and historically served as the principal kingmaker and traditional Prime Minister of Eko. She is also from the Olorogun Ide chieftaincy of Lagos State. The highly regarded matriarch, the Sheikh's mother is an influential market leader with a thriving establishment in the Ereko, Idumota, Okuawo Marina district of Lagos.
Sheikh Mansour Williams Obalola. His father was my his father was my stepfather. So I was somehow brought up in Sheikh Mansour Williams' father's house at Agboleoke on the Lagos Island. And so his own mother, I think, was the third or fourth wife of his father. So he's a junior brother to me. For him to even have a school, you know, for children, for pupils, that goes to show how a disciplinarian he is. Because if you are not disciplined by yourself, if you yourself are not disciplined, I can't see how you can establish a school where you have to deal with children who are just growing up, where you are going to mentor people from different homes, from different characters and things like that. So that goes to show you that he is a very disciplined man.
Historically, Eko is one of the earliest communities in what later became Lagos State of Nigeria to receive the benefits of Western formal education, with the advent of missionary schools established by various churches. In spite of the fact that about 95% of the population of Eko was made up of Muslim adherents, these missionary schools were enthusiastically patronized, especially by members of the community's elite, including the Williams family patriarch, who sent his young son, Prince Muhammad, to the Aminu Kosoko Kindergarten School, Iga Kosoko, Ereko, Idumota, where he commenced his educational journey. Not to be outdone, however, these schools were soon followed by their Islamic counterparts, as reputable movements such as Ansaruddin, Ahmadiyya, and others also began to stamp their educational footprint on the social landscape of the area. After his primary education at the Ansaruddin Primary School at Alakoro, Marina, Lagos Island, the young Prince Muhammad proceeded to the prestigious Ahmadiyya College, now known as Anwar College, which was established at the time as the Islamic equivalent of such icons of Western-style educational distinction as King's College, St. Gregory's College, St. Finbarr's College, and Igbobi College. The practice among the elite class in colonial Nigeria was usually to dispatch their children and wards off to England in search of the proverbial golden fleece as soon as they had concluded their secondary education. The Williams family was no exception. Before being sent off, however, the young Prince Muhammad Mansur al-Mansur Williams was first obliged to get some work training in Nigeria, in preparation for which he enrolled at the Marina headquarters of the Nigerian Customs Preventive Service, which was a required step towards a career in the Nigeria Customs Service at the time.
I got recruited into the customs accidentally. I never for once prepared to work with customs nor any other organization of any kind. After my secondary school education, while awaiting my movement from Lagos to England, the type of training we had in those days, every morning, Daily Times newspaper, another dailies will be dropped at our father's table. And after the head of the family must have gone through it, we too will have access to it. And one particular day like that, and usually customs. Of course, Nigerian Customs headquarters was just a stone thrown away from my house. Was at Marina. My house is on Eriko. It's just some 10 minutes walk. Oh no, sorry, less than 10 minutes walk. So I just maybe out of what I just left my mother's room and they walk into the place. Guess what? There are people already on queue. I joined the queue and I'm sure people will say, what is this man talking about? But that's the reality, that's the fact. And before I know it, it was my turn. And I was asked to step onto a particular stand that has facilities to determine your height, your this, your that. And I believe it, I got recruited into the customs. Just like that.
He followed this up with further training at the Police College in Kaduna and thereafter at the Customs Training School, Harvey Road, Yaba, Lagos.
We were dispatched to customs training place at Harvey Road, Yaba. So I had a full police training and customs training, and before I know it, I was posted to Apapa Premier Port. From there, the next thing I saw was my passport printed, my passport notice in the daily newspaper. Then the next thing being dispatched to England. Then after my sojourn in England, I returned to Nigeria for National Service. National Service posted me to Ministry of Finance. That time, as a foreign graduate, whenever we are available, we start our NYSC, not what they have now. Then I've had a baby girl. My brother says since you are now a father, you have to sort yourself out before your baby is ready to join you back in Nigeria, and the mother, blah, blah, like that.
At the end of his training and in the course of his stewardship with the Nigerian Customs Service, the young Prince Muhammad Mansour Williams eventually departed the shores of Nigeria for England to study for a degree in accountancy. However, that plan had to be adjusted on account of the obligations that came with his place in the family, which made it impractical for him to be away from his family, especially his aging parents, for the 7 years it would take to finish his studies. It was a change which called for him to shelve his quest for an accountancy degree for a course of shorter duration, namely marketing, of which he had been an ardent student and to which he would add other important business-related certifications in later life.
I studied in England. I had in mind of reading accountancy. The dean of my department had a meeting with foreign students immediately our resumption. And among the questions raised with us foreign students, among the questions were, do we have aged parents back home back home in our various countries? Some of us says yes, some of us says no.
By every measure, the young Prince William's studies, and indeed his entire sojourn in the United Kingdom, was highly eventful. For the most part, it was an adventure even. Whether in the classroom or out of it during field work, or as so often happened, traversing Europe in search of business and commercial opportunities, there was never a dull moment for the entrepreneurial instincts of His Eminence, Prince Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansour Williams.
I did a project with the Stock Exchange of England, and that brought about my project being recognized and sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank of England on courier service. And immediately I paid a visit to Nigeria, met with then President of then Head of State of Nigeria, General Obasanjo. I had a meeting with him and one or two other members of his cabinet, and the general just remarked straightforward that you young man, it's like you want to enter into competition with our P&T. I said, what is P&T? I asked him, it's alive. He said, Post and Telecommunication. I said, no, sir. This one is not a Post and Telecommunication. This one is courier. This one is delivering of consign of whatever that needs to be delivered from door to door, for one and one. It was like, this young man. That was the end of that. I had to return to England. Only for me to pay a visit the following year, only for me to visit Nigeria following year on holiday. Then there was this one around the Yaba area called the World Courier Service. Then someone said that it was your project. So that has been what this country is, and with that we can't move anywhere.
A year after his graduation, the life journey of His Eminence Prince Sheikh Mohammed Mansour Al-Mansour Williams was nearly marred by a harrowing experience closer to home. The West African nation of Liberia was mired in the bloody aftermath of the April 12, 1980 coup d'etat led by Master Sergeant Samuel Doe, which toppled and swept away the leading members of the previous ruling class under the regime of President William Tolbert in a shower of bullets. While in the capital Monrovia on a private visit to the family of the then Speaker of the Liberian Parliament at the time, known as the Henrys, whose patriarch, the Honorable Richard A. Henrys, was among those executed in the aftermath of the coup, Prince Williams was caught up in the deadly whirlwind of events there and nearly lost his life. Fortunately, he was able to escape a tragic fate, shaken but unhurt. It was an experience he was never going to forget in a hurry. On his return to Nigeria, His Eminence Prince Mohammed Mansour Al-Mansour Williams resumed his employment with the Nigerian Customs Service in earnest, beginning with a posting to the Federal Ministry of Finance, under whose purview the Customs Service was at the time, for his mandatory one-year National Youth Service. And so began a short but eventful career which over the years had its fair share of highs and lows, punctuated by periodic postings, promotions and recognitions, as well as no small amount of workplace drama and high-stakes intrigues, much of which was politically motivated.
Yeah, I am again with NYSC, posted me to Ministry of Finance. Finance, while documenting me, discovered that I was once in the customs. From there, my file was brought out, and I was dispatched to full field as a custom personnel. This time around as a senior officer, and I didn't have to go for further training again. That was his sojourn.
Prince William's controversial departure from the Nigerian Customs Service in 1984 marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of a new one. As he consolidated on his private business interests, marketing a wide range of products locally and internationally, he also inculcated the same business principles and the same marketing savvy that has ensured the exponential growth of his businesses and commensurate increase in his net worth into his family members, especially his children. He also went on to acquire further academic and professional certifications, all of which undoubtedly came in handy when it came time for him to venture into the challenging field of educational management, with the establishment of the first Islamic English Education Foundation, FAEF Academy. No one has been more instrumental to the phenomenal growth in the profile and fortunes of Prince Sheikh Mohammed Mansour Al-Mansour Williams' business, and in particular the FAEF Academy, than his devoted wife, Olori Mariam Antonia Nneka Mansour Al-Mansour Williams. An ethnic Igbo by birth, originally from the community of Umoji in the Idemili North local government area of Anambra State, Nigeria. She met her future husband in the 1990s in Lagos.
I must say that my husband is one of the most misunderstood person because of his disposition to things and because of his ruggedness in having his way and all that. So a lot of people may even openly pronounce he's a wicked man, kind of. But to be honest, he's one of the nicest person I've ever known. He's kind, he's philanthropic. He, like I said, is an extremist. If he want to give out, he give out without looking back. That you yourself be wondering, why are you doing so much?
As their relationship blossomed, so did her interest in the operations of the FAEF Academy increase. And over time, she began to get more and more involved in its affairs, even when she had a day job at a Lagos-based law firm at the time.
I engage people running the school for me. They were unable to do it as the vision I have or the vision I saw. So in the process, I was forced to engage foreigners to go and manage it for me. I brought Lebanese. They failed. While the school was being managed by foreigners, the Sudanese, couple of them, both male and female. It was about that time I met with my wife. The school has been years before meeting her. When I met with her, because of our discussion, I let her know I have a school that is not on the page. It's not. So, and that time, she works with a law firm. She now said to me that I should allow her to be visiting the place, and they're updating me. I said, okay, no problem. So our earlier submission was a terrible report about what she discovered. And in the process, after a while, she said, I shall allow her to be more feasible. But from day one of this school, I enrolled my children in this place from day one. I would draw some of them from schools like Fountain School at Adelabu in 1985 to this place.
From a very early stage, I've been a student at FIF, and my dad obviously being the owner of FIF. We had to maintain kind of a gap in the relationship because I've had to see him as every other student saw him and not necessarily as a dad. And when you look at the school year and the school calendar, you do spend most of the year in school as opposed to being at home. So I would say at the beginning there was almost that kind of hierarchy in terms of, oh, this is the owner of the school I attend, and then very few times being my dad. But we see that up until graduation and graduation from FIF, and then he became my dad.
The relationship between these two personalities was a highly improbable one by every measure, as they came from such disparate backgrounds. He was Yoruba and she was Igbo. He was an Islamic cleric and an ardent scholar of the Quran, and she was the daughter of Chief Albert Musa, known by his traditional chieftaincy title of Onowu, who was a staunch Christian along with the rest of his family.
The day I met with her, the cross, the Christian or the cross, Christian sign of religion, the cross on her neck, in the places on my neck, I think my neck will break. I met her with the most macro skirt you can think of. She was barely returned from England to Nigeria at that time. I met her with already a suitor, being an Igbo woman. I met her with so many hopes and dreams. Today, she embraced my vision, not my dreams, but my vision. And she's always there. So whenever it comes to me to further encourage her, to elevate her spirit, I do that. Among which I did, as I said, either yesterday or today, telling her that, my dear, beside God Almighty, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, you are the next person I know and do see. Whenever I look forward, whenever I look at my front, you are there. If I check my back from the mirror, I see you there. If I look at the sky, you are there. If I look at the ground, you are there. Left, you are there. Right, you are there. All around me, you are always there. I couldn't have asked for more.
And they have the kind of relationship where they are friends, and you see that they can talk to each other all the time. They can talk to each other anytime, and it's nice to see that because you know that they have that connection. They can lean on each other. There's never a bored moment kind of between them. They always make each other laugh. They always kind of nitpick on each other and look for each other's trouble, which, you know, it's obviously keeps the relationship alive and keeps the fun around between the both of them. They obviously work together as well, so there's that relationship and that connection to from personal life to work life.
While His Eminence the Prince came from a paramilitary and business background, she was from an academic background. Expectedly, therefore, this relationship was not without its fair share of opposition and other challenges. How did they surmount this opposition? In the end, as the Sheikh himself likes to put it, it was simply the call of destiny.
She's a mother, she's a sister, she's a friend, she's a companion. Guess what? I'm the only thing she has. That I know. That I know. That's why whenever, till date, she's yet to have a Yoruba name. That she already she knows her Yoruba name, but she has not been named, but she knows the name. I continue asking her to wait until when she will be ceremoniously be given the name. I pray Allah to spare our lives to be able to celebrate such.
The union is blessed with 6 children, 5 females and 1 male. They are as follows: Princess Mrs. Miriam Morayo Benson, Princess Mrs. Bashira Adebodun Hyman, Princess Khadija Mansour Williams, Prince Muhammad Baba Mansour Williams, Princess Asma Mansour Williams, and Princess Mrs. Aisha Nkechinyere Mansour Williams Garba.
I would describe my father as a very loving man, very industrious, very meticulous, very disciplined, very principled, very wise, and a lover of Lagos State, of Eko, the real Eko. He's a passionate lover of Lagos State.
My dad is a wonderful father and grandfather. He really enjoys having his family around, especially his grandchildren. You should see the way he watches them with love. I remember one day he was at my house and we're in the garden, it was summer, and he was dancing with the children to Nigerian songs, and you could see everyone was having a good time and you could tell he was happy. I remember another time he was with my son. Then my son was 2 years old. And they were playing. My son was making him take toys back and forth, and he kept him on his feet for quite a while. And I remember even I was saying, Daddy, sit down, thinking about, he must be getting tired. But he just carried on, and you could just tell that things like that bring him so much joy. Also, my dad has a good sense of humor. He enjoys a good laugh. And he has this way of injecting humor into different scenarios to kind of make light of the mood. One of the things I also remember about my father recently, when I had my daughter, and I was going to name her Adiola. And I remember talking to my dad about this. And he could tell the love he felt for my mum, and, the way he felt that love for my daughter. And he thought about the name. And he put so much thought into it, and how it would be lovely for my daughter to share that name, mainly because it was my mom's name and it's something special to him. And that's how he holds family. We're special to him.
My dad is definitely an onion. There's lots of layers for sure. I think he is definitely one of the smartest people I know. I say that all the time. I'm always running to him for business advice, work advice. Very smart, very intellectual, very intuitive as well. He has a great foresight, so it's a good person to kind of help manage things, because he can, it will probably envisage what is going to happen before it even happens and can guide and manage. And of course, a great entrepreneur, a great visionary as well. You can see with FIF, and definitely without a doubt as being a strong kind of bond with the family, keeping everyone together, checking up on everyone, making sure that everyone stays really tight, close-knit and well-connected.
I would describe my dad as a very principled man, and one of the first things that comes to mind when I think about him is Islam. So my dad is very known for his faith, and he translates this into his everyday life, his everyday activities. You can't miss that about him. It's really just there. He's also a disciplinarian. He owns a school, as you would have seen from like most of the video. He owns a school, and so he has to have that element of discipline in him, which also reflects in how people see him and what he does on a day-to-day basis. But besides that, he's a very fun person. He loves to dance. You know, he likes to move his body. He loves like exercising, you know, and just being fully there in anything that he's doing. But he's a very fun person. He's very chatty. I really love chatting with my dad, and you know, I think that's the side of him that most of his family see, and not everybody.
At the time of this production, the couple is also blessed with 5 grandchildren, namely Princess Amina Tamilori Benson, Prince Ramadan Shemilori Benson, Princess Fatima Darasimi Benson, Prince Kamis Oluwajimi Hyman, and Princess Monsura Ella Adeola Hyman.
My father's relationship with his grandchildren is a very, very loving one. My father dotes on his grandchildren. They love him so much. They always look forward to spending time with him. Whenever they are with him, they hardly want to leave him because he's always telling them stories of his childhood, and they're always fascinated. He always encourages them to speak Yoruba, to learn Yoruba. He will tell them, when next you're coming, you must know how to greet in Yoruba, you must know how to say this in Yoruba. They love him so much, and he loves them equally.
His love for the children is to when he spoils them as much as he can. Today, far more than he do spoil me. Even what they don't crave for, he makes sure he crave for it for themselves, for them, and make sure they have it. And I'm so grateful to him for that, because today our children, they don't look left and right or whatever. Whatever it is they've seen today, they've already, enjoy it, with us.
Having imbibed the life lessons and values inculcated in them right from their formative years by their parents, the Williams offspring have gone on to prove their mettle to the outside world, recording impressive academic, professional, and personal milestones of their own to the pride and delight of their devoted parents.
My dad is a very disciplined and principled man, and that's how a lot of people would describe him. And I think that stems from the fact that he's a lover of excellence. He wants everything he does to be very, very good, outstanding. So he doesn't expect less from anyone around him. So he will demand the very best from you. So he would not let you be ill-disciplined, and he will not let you not give your very best. So working with my dad, being with my dad, you must always be willing to give an excellent output.
A lot of us have been impacted by his discipline and his principles. I would speak for myself. Because of my dad, I've unconsciously picked up a lot of traits that have helped me in my adult life. For instance, he's made me to become very independent, not to rely on people. And as an adult now, I see the benefit of that, because one of the easiest ways to get things done for yourself is to believe in yourself and do it on your own.
That discipline definitely helps. It really helps. Because when we first went to college, when we first lived away from the family, you do realize that there's certain things that you do, and then you don't realize you kind of picked up from not being able to do certain things, or just the way we're being brought up. And I can definitely attest to the fact that if there's anything about my life so far from my adulthood, is that I've definitely been more not necessarily disciplined, but just more respectful of life in itself and just of my person, because I've been able to pick up on some of those values. I'll call them values, not disciplines, actually values that the discipline instilled in me.
Yes, my father is a disciplinarian and he's very strict. I completely agree. But he's a man with very high expectations and he's very principled. And I have seen in different scenarios where he wouldn't accept less than the best, either from children or adults, but he gives the same of himself. One of the most comforting things about having my father as my father is that I know he's always praying for me, my children, my husband, and my siblings. And for that, I'm eternally grateful for the loving and kind father that I have.
I always say to people, despite his disciplinary disposition, he is a very good man who thinks of others, irrespective of who you are and where you come from.
The coming of Olori Mariam Mansour Al-Mansour Williams into the administration of the FIAF Academy has over the years brought about a transformation in its profile and fortunes, so that the institution has asserted itself as a center of academic excellence in line with its mission statement, namely, to create an enabling environment where great importance is attached to quality teaching blended with strict moral upbringing according to Islamic tenets, wherein emphasis is placed on the total empowerment and development of our pupils and students morally, spiritually, physically, and academically, as well as its overall vision, which is to inculcate qualitative secular education along with uncompromising, thorough, modern-day Islamic teachings, culture, and values, supported with Quranic reading, memorization, and Arabic language.
In this school, the children are taught how to read and write Arabic. With that, they can hold Quran at any given time and read it and understand it. Then, they have been trained on memorization of the Quran itself. This memorization is different from now when they are good enough in memorization. Now reading without looking at the text with what we call tajweed.
In line with its mission and vision, therefore, the FIAF Academy emphasizes the teaching of religious subjects such as Islamic religious knowledge, Islamic jurisprudence, Quranic memorization, and Arabic language.
As the name of the school connotes, that is the First Islamic English Education Foundation, we lay particular attention on the two sides, that is the English aspect of education and the Islamic aspect, without compromising one to the other.
The school also organizes weekend classes in Arabic and Islamic jurisprudence for adults. This all-encompassing educational paradigm is aimed at orientating the children while still at an impressionable age on morals, ethics, and basic decency, including how to dress, eat, sleep, and conduct themselves in public.
Yeah, the standard year in year has been consistent and just increasing and improving, and I think being in a position to see it from two different angles, from two different views as well, you do really see that these kids are well-mannered. It is actually baffling to see they are very well-mannered, and I think if kids can go out into the world with this level of training, then you just almost always know that the sky is only the starting point, really. So yes, I'll say it's definitely even done more than enough.
An ultra-modern co-educational institution, FIAF Academy boasts of nursery, primary, secondary, and advanced sections. Its day-to-day operations and the general ambience of its premises are a model of organization and efficiency. Each classroom, for example, seats no more than 20 students, with male students on one side and their female counterparts on the other. Ablution points within the premises are also separated for male and female students and staff. The same goes for the 50 toilet facilities situated on the premises.
We have well over large water reservoirs. We have over about 18 large water reservoirs that we have children that uses the water for ablution as they like, 5 times a day. Water bathing, not 10, not 20, not 100 of them. Bathing morning and night, washing of clothes, toileting.
Thanks to this uncompromising emphasis on excellence both in academic and moral upbringing, FIAF Academy has enjoyed numerous recognitions, awards, and honors from multiple stakeholders in the sectors of education and youth development in Lagos State and beyond, including the 2008, 2009, and 2021 National Quality School Award, an annual honor instituted by the Quality Management Development Institute in Lagos to recognize educational organizations and individuals adjudged to have distinguished themselves when measured against the framework of global best practices in education. FIEF Academy offers a comprehensive educational package which encompasses all academic subjects, including language arts, mathematics, social studies, and science. In addition, however, the curriculum is made more robust and holistic by such non-academic but equally important subjects and programs as physical education, art, health and career planning, and information technology.
In school curriculum, we run 3 major curriculums: Nigerian curriculum, British, and Islamic curriculum, which is Islamic culture.
We have an in-house gym where the children enjoy themselves. Even while they're in classroom, they do go in there to enjoy themselves.
Not to mention the numerous excursions that have taken the students to various countries along the West African coast, such as Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire, as well as various states across Nigeria. All these activities have gone a long way to enrich and challenge successive generations of students to ever higher levels of achievement and competence as they prepare to engage the emerging global marketplace of goods, services, information, and ideas. In the process, FIEF Academy has produced a first-class core of alumni who are excelling both locally and internationally in their respective fields of professional and vocational endeavor, and serving as proud ambassadors of their alma mater. Worthy of mention in this regard is Dr. Abdul Hasib Suenu, who holds a PhD from the University of Canterbury in England and now works in the office of the Managing Director of the World Bank in Washington, D.C., USA. In the end, FIEF Academy has, in its almost 4 decades of existence, demonstrated its commitment towards the actualization of its most fundamental objective, namely the formation of Muslim character in line with the following statement: a Muslim pursues spiritual goals through all his or her worldly endeavors. His or her behavior embodies and reflects Islamic morals and values. Pursuit of knowledge is among a Muslim's highest priorities, and a spirit of inquiry is a prerequisite. Faith and action work together to lead a Muslim toward higher knowledge and progress, sound individual life choices, and service to society. In a world of pervasive violence, moral corruption, political upheaval, and increasing lack of personal responsibility, FIEF Academy is developing in her students the values of honesty, compassion, self-esteem, and respect for others, pride in honest work, a commitment to justice, and an acceptance of differences. And those are the values that will continue to guide the growth and trajectory of FIEF Academy in the years and years to come, inshallah. A key factor in the success of FIEF Academy all these years has been the loyalty, dedication, hard work, and commitment of its workforce, both academic and non-academic.
tó fi di kan dáléèwé yìí sílẹ̀ láti ìgbà tí mo lè ti mọ̀ wọ́n pẹ̀lú iléèwé yìí wọ́n ń take care gbogbo àdúgbò yìí ni ká má jẹ́ wá sọ pé iléèwé yìí in particular wọ́n take care gbogbo ẹ̀ àtọ̀sán àtòru ṣé kìkì sùn nítorí ọmọ ọlọ́mọ tó wà ní báyìí ìyàwó wọn náà the same thing bákan náà ni ọjọ́ ń ṣe iṣẹ́ yẹn hand to hand anything tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ báyìí wọ́n máa pè ní emergency a ní kí n máa bọ̀ kíákíá o kán lè romi lu tí mi ò bá débi ṣéèkì ò ní sùn bí n bá débi pàápàá ó dìgbà tá a bá rectify tá a bá ṣe iṣẹ́ yẹn láti dájú débi pé tọ́wọ́n ọmọ yẹn tán fi ní problem wọ́n fẹ́ ru lómi ni o wọ́n fẹ́ lu anything ni o tán máa nílò bó dẹ̀ ṣe iṣẹ́ electrical náà ni pé iná ṣe kíní kan gbogbo ẹ wo àwọn big gen tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tó jẹ́ pé bí iná kì í kú ní FIEF pé wọ́n múná lọ rárá wọ́n ní transformer àti NEPA fúnra ara wọn tán rà ó wà lórí òpó àpáàdì lérí yẹn wọ́n tún wá ní àwọn big giant gen mẹ́ta nínú ọgbà yìí torí pé kó má sì failure of NEPA.
I see them as role models because everything they do, they tend to do it in a way that the people that are watching can copy from them. And if you do that, you see that you live a very simple lifestyle. Their discipline, Sheikh's discipline is to the highest standard, I would say 100%. For them to sacrifice their own pleasure to come and live a life in the school. They live in the school, they stay with the children, live in the hostel. They want the children to copy from them. And they will be happy to if staff can copy and emulate them. That will help the system, because our students here, once they go out, that impact, you will see it in them.
Sheikh and his wife are very caring. They've been playing a fatherly and motherly role, not just for the staff, for the students, for the pupils. It marvels me at times the way they play with them as if they are their children. And there's also done so to the staff by thinking in such a way that the staff will always have it better.
I've been working with Sheikh Madam for over a decade now. One, it has helped me in the area of collaboration. Collaboration in the sense that as a team, you always work as a team and listen to other people's opinion before you take certain decision. One. Then again, working with them has also built my own personality. So it has also given me opportunity to rediscover some of my own talents. And working with them too has given me the kind of leadership styles that outside there, when I handle issues, people are also looking up to me as a role model. And all this is, I get them, I learned all these things from them, from their own leadership style.
Sheikh is very good. Madam too is very, very nice. She takes care of all of us. She talks to us, she advises us. She comes to the hostel, she talks to us. She looks after us. She makes sure that all the things we need are there with us. She gives us advices. Sheikh also comes to our hostel, checks our bed, our things, if we are all right. Make sure that we do. Make sure that we know what we came to this school for and everything.
Sheikh is a very lovely father. He is the person that I know that is highly disciplined, and he always wants to impact that discipline into children. Madam is a very caring and lovely mother. She listens to every complaint that you make to her. She's very nice. She's very prayerful. And I pray that Allah grants both of them long life and prosperity.
The Williams family is a close-knit one, where the bonds of love, friendship and loyalty are palpable, thanks to the unyielding devotion of a patriarch and matriarch whose large hearts and generous spirits are a source of comfort and succor to family and non-family members alike, and whose home has over the years become a sanctuary for many. Family gatherings such as Eids, naming ceremonies, housewarmings, weddings and reunions are like festivals in celebration of Almighty Allah's abundant blessings upon the family and an occasion for the reaffirmation of solidarity among the family members. The Williams children's pride and gratitude to their parents for their devotion and sacrifice over the years is replicated in the attitudes of their respective spouses, who now consider themselves sons rather than sons-in-law of His Eminence, the Sheikh and Olori Mansour Al-Mansur Williams.
My father-in-law is the most simple and most religious man I've ever seen. The relationship between myself and himself is very cordial, and I thank God for his advices. Whenever my wife and my kids go over to his place for a visit, we are always over-pampered, and we are never in a hurry to leave. I thank God for his life, and I wish him all the best, and may he enjoy the fruits of his labor.
When I last visited Lagos, my father-in-law was so hospitable and welcoming. He gave us his drive and vehicle to go sightseeing, and his warmth and hospitality remains the same when he visits the UK. He loves seeing his grandchildren and having us around. I remember seeing the pictures from the naming ceremony held in Lagos for my son and thinking of his generosity and affection towards his family. I have also heard how this is extended beyond his family. My children love their granddad and look forward to seeing him again soon.
I think the word that comes to mind now when I think about my father-in-law, when I think about the Sheikh, is fun. How jovial he is as a person, and that is, on first impression, that's probably not the first impression you get really about the Sheikh. You think about, once you think about the Sheikh, or when you see him for the very first time, you see the tough exterior, you see a disciplinarian, you see a no-nonsense person, and he's all of that. But in addition to that, once you get to know him, and once you get to know him, you find out that he's a fun, charismatic, quite chatty person. You never run out of topics to discuss when you're talking with the Sheikh. Always use the opportunity to also impart nuggets of wisdom. I always enjoy having conversations with him when we're fortunate to, when we're opportune to. So that's, I think, the first thing, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about the Sheikh. His jovial nature, his chatty nature, it just makes you feel welcome in and around his presence.
His Eminence Sheikh Prince Mohammed Mansour Al Mansour Williams believes he wouldn't have been quite the man he is today without the love and support of his first wife, the late Olori Monsurat Adeola Williams, fondly known as Onidoko, who passed on in 1989 at the tender age of 32 years. Over 3 decades after her passing, Olori Monsurat Adeola Williams remains a towering and unforgettable presence in the life of the Williams family, as attested to by the thoughtful acts of remembrance, large and small, that the Sheikh and his household carry out in her memory. Sheikh Williams remembers the late Olori as an exceptional and irreplaceable epitome of every positive human virtue. She was the embodiment of humility and unconditional respect for persons, irrespective of their station in life. In spite of her privileged upbringing, Olori Monsurat Adeola Williams was submissive to a fault, not just to her husband or her parents and in-laws, but to all who came her way. Over the years, many have posed this question: why would a crown prince from the 2 ruling houses of Lagos Island, a bona fide Eko blue blood, choose to set up his business organization, including his signature, the First Islamic English Education Foundation Academy, in Okota, of all places? And why would he eventually settle there with his family for good? In a status-conscious society such as ours, and in the face of the island-mainland dichotomy that prevails in Lagos in particular.
At the time I acquired a property here, this place called Okota, in fact, most average Nigerians, they cannot even afford, if there's any, that time, of course there wasn't any, afford the accommodation in this place called Okota. I can remember some 40 years plus back, Okota used to be called Victoria Island of Lagos. Those are the came after us. I don't want to use their term. I'm only telling you. That's how expensive. Okota as at that time, I think of that time, more expensive than today called Banana Island. For you to be able to acquire property in this so-called Okota of a place. But that's our story now. Don't forget, Okota was so strategically placed, especially for those of us that are entrepreneur, business people. Proximity to all the seaports and the possibility to all the national, international airports. So, it makes it easier for us to travel out and come back, not going through the hassle of traffic all over the place.
The working class hustle and bustle of Okota is a world away from the chic glamour and elegance of the island, with its fashionable tree-lined neighborhoods, its fine waterfront residences, and the sleek automobiles that ply its broad avenues.
I did not acquire this property for what it is today. I acquired it as a place for holiday. Well, it was quite far. Don't forget, I'm a Lagos Island person. Okota was quite far. Okota, to me, just like my mother would tell you that time, my mother says Okota is out of Lagos. Okota is so Okota was quite far. Because at the time I acquired this Okota, I live in Surulere. But at the time I developed Okota, I moved to Victoria Island. So even from Surulere to here is far. How much more Victoria Island to this place is quite far. But eventually, I developed the place for my holiday resort. And then I'll be coming out for holiday, seeing it as a very far place, as a western region, as we normally call it those days. As eventually, the issue of Islam propagation setting into my life. Yes, I've gotten this property and the building here some 7 years before turning to what it is today in 1985. It has been here before I used it in 1985 for what it is now. So all that time it was just abandoned here. More or less the most first of its kind in this Okota axis. More or less about the first story building of modern design. That then in some late 70s like that.
Àsìkò kan gbogbo àdúgbò yìí ó jẹ́lẹ̀ omi tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé Fayef Anthony Fayef fún rẹ̀ òun ló ṣe kò kárí bí gbogbo àdúgbò yìí wọ́n ṣe fíìlì ẹ̀ tómi kú òǹbẹ̀ òun ló lé omi kú ò.
His Eminence Prince Sheikh Mohammed Mansour Al-Mansour Williams' decision to go against the conventional practice in this regard speaks volumes about the essential character of the man.
Many people think that it's not possible, it's actually possible. If only and understand our environment and know what exactly we want. This place we are now, this place this recording is taking place, is so designed for not only for today, for the present, for the future, and for our retirement. So give and take, we are going to retire here, and by the time we retire in here, we will still be functioning as we are functioning. It's so designed like that. We have our gardens designed here, already here for retirement. We have a terraces designed. We have the accommodation itself designed. So these are all that most of us in this part of the world needs to do. One, it will save us stress. It saves us a lot of money.
In spite of his advancing age, Sheikh Williams retains a youthful zest for life that is manifested in a rich and infectious sense of humor, as well as a seemingly boundless energy that will put many people half his age to shame. Not surprisingly, he is a health and wellness enthusiast who adheres to a strict diet and exercise regimen that has contributed to his age-defying looks. A humble and down-to-earth man, in spite of his aristocratic upbringing, he projects a palpable aura of contentment, as well as an air of confidence and optimism that constantly radiates from him like the rays of the rising sun.
I've never got any bad impression about his behavior, whether at home or in public places. And nobody has ever come to report any criminal or untoward behavior from him. So to me, he's a man of the people, he's a gentleman.
I know Sheikh is getting old, and I know he's never tired, and I know until he leaves the earth, he will continue to remain the person he is. He can't change his style because of age. And I pray that God give him long life, so that, and I also pray that people emulate him and try to impact others too.
My wish for them is for God, for Allah to spare their lives, so that they, even if it is not all, bits or part of why Fayev Academy was set up.
Èrò mi sí wọn ni wípé ọjọ́ tí ń wà lórí wọn àti ìyàwó wọn. Nísìnyí ìtọ́jọ́ náà dé yìí ọjọ́ àdálẹ́, but mo wish wípé nínú àwọn ọmọ wọn kàn jẹ́ kó mójútó iléèwé yìí, torí tọ́jọ́ bá dálẹ́ kí iléèwé yìí kó má parun, kó má gẹ́tọ̀, kó máa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀, kàn jẹ́ kí inú àwọn ọmọ wọn àìdá kan àbí méjì irú iṣẹ́ tó wọ́n ń ṣe yìí kọ́wọn ọmọ wọn understand ẹ̀, kán mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, kán lè gbé léèwé ìdúró, kán lè gbé lárugẹ. Mo wish láti jẹ́ pé kán ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀.
I feel like there's a certain age you get when you feel like, oh, someone has achieved much in life. So I feel like achieve is very subjective, because what is achieved, like different things. But I would say just being able to have grown Fayev this long and to this extent as well, I think definitely is something that is a big feat in itself, that even I can attest to, that is being able to achieve successfully. And I think obviously having a family as well, this close-knit, and being able to keep everyone together in itself, being able to train all his kids very well.
I love my dad so much. I wish him the very best of good health, of more strength, of peace, of joy and laughter.
Long before it became the so-called new normal in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic that swept across the globe in 2019 and 2020 and forced authorities everywhere to impose rigorous lockdowns that kept people within the confines of their homes for days, weeks and months on end, the practice of working and conducting his business empire from home was already an integral part of everyday life for Sheikh Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansour Williams. In a world that is undergoing rapid and disruptive changes to the way we live and work, not only from COVID-19, but also from new technologies and previously unheard of sociological paradigms. The Sheikh has long been an enthusiastic proponent of this way of life. Moreover, as any resident of Lagos will tell you, commuting across this vast metropolis on a daily basis to and from work is a grueling affair with potentially disastrous consequences for one's physical and mental health as well as quality of life. As far as Sheikh Williams is concerned, working from home is a different, healthier, and far more excellent alternative, and one that more people ought to imbibe for the sake of their sanity. As already mentioned, the motivation behind His Eminence Sheikh Prince Muhammad Mansour Al-Mansur Akinola Olabiyi Bodunrin Williams' decision to establish the first Islamic English Education Foundation Academy is driven by his concern for young people and his desire to help shape their destinies and enhance their prospects for a more glorious future, as reflected in his lifelong activism in pursuit of socio-economic justice in the society, the maintenance of high moral and technical standards in our educational system, and a genuine commitment to the general good on the part of our leaders and political office holders. By extension, FAEF Academy reflects his hopes for the larger Nigerian nation as a whole, and his determination to ensure that in the long term, FAEF Academy will serve as a catalyst towards the attainment of our collective quest for a just and prosperous nation, and for the continued sustenance of our most cherished values as a democratic society driven by an unflinching faith in the power and providence of a faithful, just, and merciful God. Alhamdulillah.
ọmọọba àdó ọmọọba akínṣemọyìn ọmọ olúkòkun àgánrún owó ọmọọba àlùfọ̀n moko mbẹ̀bí ọmọ adíjọ́náwó bowó nú jẹ́ ọmọ àyìnmí ní ọ̀rọ̀ ọmọ ọ̀bí ní aróguntayò ọmọ òsín wìnìgbéwìnìkọ ó fi nǹkan wìnìwìnì tọkọ̀ ṣe ọmọ alówó lọ́kọ̀ bí òyìnbó dé tán owó òun pọ̀ sí ọmọ òpè bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní gàdú ganràn ọmọ wọn kì í fọkọ́ ró wọn kì í pàdá ró bí a kò ró a kò gbọdọ̀ kúrò nídìí ẹ̀ ọmọ àtùpà gàdú ganràn tó ń jóni lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ń jó lọ́wọ́ wọn fi í banú ẹ̀gbẹ́ gangan kò ṣeé lù lẹ́sẹ̀ ó ń ràwọ̀ kó ṣe bí òṣùpá ẹni agbádé fún ládé yẹ ọmọ alápá ó jàgbòkò fún yàn ó gbágbòtà ó fowó ẹ̀ fóbìnrin kábíyèsí akínṣemọyìn ọmọ ọba àdèlé ajósùn ọmọ òrókòrègi mátìdì ọmọ ọba àlùfọ̀n ọmọ olóde òkúta ọmọ àgbà òsínlú ìlú bàjẹ́ baálé ilé kú ilé daworo ọmọ dẹ́gẹ̀ tutù lẹ́yìn ó gbóná nínú ọmọ òjì lóru kénini òbẹ́nini lókùnkùn ọmọ òṣùpá lé ẹni ògún ọ̀nà ọwọ́ ẹ̀ bá tó kó lọ tún ṣe ọmọ òsínwìnìgbéwìnìkọ ọmọ àgbààgbà tí ń gba ará àdúgbò ó gba sókènù ó gbà páàdì ó gba sódẹkẹ tọmọtọmọ à ń ròde ìráná à ń wo ìlú èkó lọ́kọ̀ọ̀kan akíkanjú ọmọ tó ń gbógun jálé bàbá ọmọ ògbọ́rọ̀ yẹ̀wò bí elédùmarè ọmọ kẹlẹ̀bẹ̀ òjò wú kò wù gèrè aráàbí ní arógùntayò ọmọ ta ni oníkòkò ń fojú di ọmọ òru là ń ṣèkà ọ̀sán là ń ṣèmẹ́lẹ́ ọmọ afíjú wọjà ó ní gbẹ̀ǹdẹ́kẹ ọ̀bùn wọjà pa ṣìọ̀ṣìọ̀ ọ̀bùn ṣìọ̀ṣìọ̀ ní rẹrù afíjú wọlé ọmọ bíbí eré kò ṣeé fowó rà ọmọ abẹ́kò ló jìjàdù ẹwà ọmọ eré jogún ọlá àtùpàdù ganràn ọmọ ọlọ́gbọ́n dorí ẹja mú ọmọ òdíyán ọmọ ogun lòdìbò ọmọ òbí ní arógùntayò ọmọ òdíyán ọmọ ogun lòdìbò ọmọ òbí ní arógùntayò ọmọ àròfọbabẹ́gùn ọmọ afẹ́lẹ́lẹ́ wọlé ọba ọmọ ẹni òbejì ọmọ ẹni bẹ́jì ó yàṣọ ọmọ òyìnbó fòkun ṣọ̀nà ẹyẹ fojú ọ̀run ṣòréré ọmọ afọbajẹ ìlú èkó ọmọ ajẹkọba tó jẹ elétú òrogun ẹnìkan ò lọ agbada ògbóná ìgbàdo òta ètò òsì ọba òjẹ kábíyèsí o kábíyèsí o kábíyèsí o.
arrangement of traveling and leaving the country.
I wish
they advised me to meet up with the pastors and to meet up with the pastor, and that was the whole arrangement of traveling and leaving the country.
I wish to travel, but not that kind of travel in my life. My enemy, I don't pray for him to go through that what I go through. It's a grace of God.
A good life is desire to meet desire. Quest means different things to different people. For some, it could be as simple as access to basic necessities of life: food, shelter, clothing, and safety. But for others, it may be much more complicated. Yearly, thousands of African migrants leave their countries on a long journey away from home. Their destination, Europe. I established direct contact with a returnee, a young Nigerian whose main goal was to expand his business big enough to make his family comfortable. Although not Europe-bound, his story shows that there is no limit to human mobility and migration decisions. An old friend had informed him of business opportunities in Cairo, but the road to Egypt turned out to be eventful. The reality often dawns in the middle of the journey, a point of no return and moment of reckoning where they see life flash before their eyes.
From Kano, there's a bus taking us to Sinde. From Sinde to Agadez. Getting to Agadez, suddenly they say we are going to enter flight. Just an hour to Cairo. I said, okay, no problem. I was enjoying myself. But later on, they just said, higher, higher, higher. I said, what is higher? They now bring a e-loss, pick up. I said, to do what? They say we should take certificate. I said, which certificate? That's stick. To put a bundle of us, sit in the e-loss, down to where? They say it's 1 hour driving. I said, okay, I followed their advice. By way sitting down with my stature, I was even happy. We have never even moved 30 to 15 minutes. I just hear, bah! I was just hearing, Boda Entiku. And I told them, I'm not dead. He said, to stop and calm down. This is how I fold my mouth, looking at him, said, what is happening? He said, we are too heavy. Heavy for what? He took 5 people to one side, said the car is going down. With the language they are talking, I don't hear their language. What I just know is that he wants to kill 5 people. I just hear pa, 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 pa. From there, the hypertension now come up. Because that's my first time in my life seeing killing people like a goat.
With the arduous journey on land to Libya out of the way, migrants then proceed to the next phase, this time on sea. Any failure at this point comes with dire consequences.
There was a man they called I don't want to call it the Shaman in Saba. He's now one I run to. I want to go back home. I'm going back to my country. The man said no. Move on. When you get to Tripoli, you jump to Italy. I said okay. I followed the advice. Getting to Tripoli, we will get to the sea. There's a camp they used to put us. We always sat down before going. It can even take you a month before they brought you to the Lampa. They call it Lampa. That's Balu. But the first day, I saw some people coming back with bending hand, bending leg. Some have died. They say I should ready to go. I say yes. Coming back, they return us back to camp. I don't know the camp is jail. We are just dumped there 3-4 months.
Equally as deadly is the Middle Eastern route. Even more heartbreaking is that victims can be lured by persons considered trustworthy. A trafficker can be anyone.
When I was struggling with life, I finally get a job as a waitress. I met with a friend. You know, we all think in Nigeria that facing 1 or 2 challenges, when you meet with the pastor, talk about it, pray about it, you believe everything will be okay. And that was what happened. They advised me to meet up with their pastors and to meet up with the pastor, and that was the whole arrangement of traveling and leaving the country. And the initial plan was Canada, not traveling to an Arab country. It was not Oman. So at the long run, I was working. I do send my salary and even the tip I get as a waitress then to the pastor to work on my visa. And at the long run, we realized that the pastor was fake and there was nothing coming out of it. So we met with the person the pastor was introducing to us, standing as the agent. They said, okay, there's a country that we can go to currently now, which is called Oman. That was where we were told that it was Dubai, close to Dubai. They share border with Dubai. And we all know Dubai very well because Dubai is a very popular country, okay. Since it's Dubai, okay, we would go there. Getting to Oman, we don't know anything that was going on. Then that was when we realized that we are into slavery, working as an house help. Here they call it house help. Over there, they call us Shangala, which is slave, and it's not easy. A lot of people are there that we left together are no more today, and most people are sexually harassed. Like I myself, I was harassed over there too. I was locked up, being beaten up. Even if I said I'm not working again, the way they treat me as if I am nobody, and they don't care if I lose my life or not because they believe that they've actually paid our country, like they've paid an agent here in Nigeria. They sell us out for 2 years, so they let us know that 2 years we can actually do anything for us, and we have no question, and we have no right over ourselves for that 2 years.
The mass exodus of African migrants through irregular channels has created room for exploitation and gross human rights abuse in the already volatile Libya. Detention camps are literally hell on earth. And so, in 2017, the European Union, in partnership with the International Organization for Migration, started funding voluntary return programs to assist migrants stranded in these informal prisons. Since then, over 15,000 Nigerians have taken advantage of this opportunity. But a cloud still hangs over many of the returnees. It is the stigma and worry of starting a new life.
I wish to travel, but not that kind of travel in my life. There's some people I met in a bus. He say he's traveling. I say, bros, I even lie down on the ground. I say, please, look at me, look at my picture. Don't ever try it. Even my enemy, if he said he wants to travel to that road, I have money, I will ask him, what do you want? I will tell him to take, to please to stay. My enemy, I don't pray for him to go through that what I go through. It's a grace of God for me to be alive today.
They say old wounds heal over time, but this experience is one whose memory hardly ever fades away.